you want to see marijuana legalized?
Relegalized. It was legal until 1937. George Washington grew marijuana on his farm, referred to as empathy farmer, as did Thomas Jefferson. I think it is.
Did they realize what it was?
It has various uses.
Right, you can make rope out of it and stuff.
Fiber.
But when you say that, when you make a statement like George Washington grew marijuana, and he grew hemp, whether or not he knew that he could smoke it and derive a feeling from it, I don't know whether that was he had that information or not.
I would certainly like to see conclusive evidence corroborating that suggestion, but
I would think you would have it. Now, if you're an advocate for something, I would think that you would take these various historical situations, this name dropping that you're doing here, and you would already have the information.
Well, there are some tantalizing references in his diary to hemp farming and separating the male plants from the female plants, which it is suggested or inferred could have some suggestion that he had some knowledge of its psychoactive benefits. But as I say, I've heard suggestions and seen some plain documentation to that effect, but I would like to see it conclusively corroborated. So I would not, I'd try to seek conclusive corroboration.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Alaska, I believe, had re-legalized, as you put it, marijuana, and then they rescinded that in a recent election, whether it was 90 or 89. Why do you suppose the Alaskan people did that? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I hope and presume that will receive some further consideration in the courts, and it could result in a change.
So what was the reason that they decided to not legalize marijuana any longer? Why did they take it to the voters? The voters said no.
Well, fortunately, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights in particular protects the rights, the fundamental universal human rights, freedoms of United States citizens, despite would-be tyrannical majorities.
Yes, but the people in Alaska voted it down. They said no. We in fact not voted it down. They repealed a legalized marijuana law that had been in effect, I believe, for 15 years. And they said that we no longer want marijuana legalized. Now here was your perfect model. Here was your perfect paradigm. Here was Alaska. The people up there smoking marijuana, I guess, for the past X number of years. Then all of a sudden, they put it on the ballot, and the people decide they don't want it legalized any longer. Now, why did that happen?
I don't know that it was a perfect paradigm that they suggest. In fact, it was sort of a limited legality that was predicated specifically on the privacy rights in the Constitution of Alaska as well, and there's still other considerations as well. May I try to suggest something of more immediate importance, but not unrelated? May I please suggest how Los Angeles Police Chief Daryl Gates is part of the problem? Chief Gates is, in effect, according to his own words, according to his own foreign testimony, he is, in effect, a would-be mass murderer. As he, during his testimony before Congress in Washington September last year, he said that casual drug users should be taken out and shot or something to that effect. This year on KCBS TV's Newsmaker show, he stated that there were, however he defined the term, 23 to 30 million Americans who he defined as casual drug users, and he suggested that, so however he defines those individuals, he has in effect advocated the mass murder of 23 to 30 million Americans. Just because the chief of police has a mass murderer consciousness that he publicizes and advertises, that does not necessarily mean that a mass murderer consciousness, a mass murder mentality is all pervasive in the LAPD. However, on the other hand, since the police chief is in effect a would-be mass murderer and advertises this, it seems that I would be very surprised if a mass murderer consciousness is not at least a significant component of the LAPD consciousness, and the brutality depicted on the Gates video may be just one manifestation of this would-be mass murderer consciousness being pushed by Daryl Police State Gates.
Well, I suppose one can interpret it in a number of ways, but when someone stands up and makes a statement such as Chief Gates did, that casual drug users should be shot, then he has to then, I guess, bear whatever reputation and whatever criticism is going to come to him from the public. I think it was a very bizarre statement that was virtually irrational for any person who's a responsible official to say that casual drug users should be taken out and shot, and he had an opportunity, I think, to clarify what he meant, and I think he did reiterate